So guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be looking at panelling a staircase. Now this has become very popular recently, and obviously people want to add a bit of character to the houses. Now this house is an old Victorian house, so chances are it may have been put on at some point in this house, but maybe not, because you know, depending on the budget of the builders and that when they built these houses. But quite a lot of period houses have panelling, which is either oak or none of it's veneered or anything. But however, it has become more popular again to place panelling, especially in these areas. It's a nice big hallway for a house. However, it does come like this now. This is an MDF strip. So this is, just let me measure it, I think it'd be about 6mm, I think it is, yeah. Now you can get it, just buy a sheet of MDF and get it cut into 6mm lengths, but there are companies that offer these kits here. This is Cheshire mouldings. Oh, excuse me. Comes in a pack like that, and you just order the packs you want. And basically all you're doing is running the bottom and the top, and then using that to create the panelling. Generally speaking, it goes straight onto a wall like this. Now this has already been wallpapered. The customer doesn't want to remove the wallpaper because being an old house and being an experienced hand at doing DIY and that, he knows that this could cause more problems removing it and doesn't want to go to the expense of doing it. So what we will be doing is placing 2.4 metre by 1.2 metre 6mm MDF panels on the walls first. Then we'll be putting the panelling on. Now that will offer an extremely smooth surface which will match the texture of the surface of this. Like I said before, normally these would be going on the wall like that, but you've got all this wallpaper texture, bit of filling in here. All this is going to show. You've got the lines in the wallpaper here. Now if we strip this back, it will be the old lime plaster, which again will be textured, and there'd be various different repairs. I can already see that there's bumps and that in the wall, so I know it's been filled before. So that being said, this is what we're going to do today in this video, is we're going to mark this out ready for this panelling. Now I don't have the MDF sheets yet, but we will be getting them, and we will be doing another video. Maybe this may be part one, maybe do a part two. So the first thing you need to know is to find out where the riser is meets the skirting board at the bottom of the staircase. So this is the point we're looking for here, and the first thing you need to do is draw a level line up from there. Now this is an old level, so I'm going to cut. I can't quite see the bubble. My eyesight's failing quite a bit now. That looks level. Now we just draw a line like that. Now the customer has asked me to do this at 1.2 metres, which is exactly what a panel will be on the MDF sheets that we're using. So we're going to go 1.2 from the top of the skating board at this point here, and we need to level it through. So there we are, we've already put a mark there where we intend to go. So that's the 1.2 there. The next thing we need to do is go to the top of the staircase and repeat the process that we've done at the bottom. So we'll go upstairs now. So again, we're looking for the point where the skirting board meets the riser of the staircase, which is here. So that's where the point is, that's where the staircase will finish. So again, we want another line, level line to the top. And there we go. Doesn't matter if I go too far because it's going to be decorated anyway. And then once again, taking your mark from the top of the skating board, Got 1.2 there. That's where we'll be finishing. So you just need to continue that line up. And there we go. Now we have 2 reference points now. So what this will do is we'll be able to get a line going that way now, which should be equal with this. Now I will say this, if you're doing panelling, from the top here we've got 1.2 metres to here, so this is 1.2 metres. Yeah, so that's that bit there. So anything at that side of the line will be 1.2 metres high. Here, if you were to measure from here in a straight line, you get round about 900. So the 1.2 isn't the same. It reduces the width. However, if you ran this line all the way to the top at 1.2 metres from there, it would look stupid, which is why we do this, and this is the way we do it. Now, quite often in videos I've seen on YouTube is, just move the camera slightly, make sure we get this in the right angle. So what you need is one of these, which is a chalk line. Now, on other YouTube videos and people doing this, nothing wrong with this, but there's usually 2 of them. We don't have 2 people, it's just me, so I'm just tacking in an old screw there. Now you can use anything, a nail, screw, anything. Then what we do is we hook that and we go down to the bottom, to the mark down at the bottom. So I'll move the camera again. So I've tapped that in tight, so it's tight up against the wall. All we do is come down to his mark down here. Hold it tight and pin. It leaves a little chalk line. Now, might have to do that again because it's not quite ready. It's worth remembering if you've bought one of these from new is to make sure there's plenty of chalk in it. So we'll just rewind that again. What you're looking for is a consistent. We have got a blue chalk line halfway down and it's stopped because there isn't enough chalk in it. This looks better now. Yeah, this looks a lot better. Right, so holding that on our line. There we go. There's the chalk line. That's what we're looking for. So as you can see, now we have a chalk line. Obviously it doubled up. That's not the one we're looking for. We're looking for that one. Now that just gives you an idea of where it's going. And obviously it helps us mark out what we need to do. Now all we need to do now is just level the top end up and the bottom end so we know what we're doing. Now for this you could just use the level. You can just use the chalk line again if you wish. So it's quite a simple thing to do. Is remove your little screw. Find your line, get your level. See, that one is spot on. There you go. we repeat the process at the bottom. So, line, make sure it's level, hold it in. I can already tell that the walls are not even just by holding my level on the wall. They're just not even at all, these. Once you've done that, you need to work out how many panels you want. Now, some people will work out the panels. So, ideally what you want is a panel there, starting there, and again at the top you want the panel starting at the top. Now, my customer has asked me to do these 0.9 meters apart, so it's not going to work out the same as you would do if you was doing it that way, if you was working it out mathematically. But what you would do is you would measure this distance here up to the top. You would decide how many panels you want going up. So you would have one of these again at the top at that point, and you would have one here at this point. And what you would do is measure the distance and then divide it by how many panels you want plus the panels. So I'll do some workings out for you so you can see what that is. But for today we are actually doing this differently. The customer specifically asked it to be 0.9, so I'm going to work it out from that wall, and then we need to find out where the panels are going, the MDF 6mm panels. So we'll be getting some panels that will be going on the wall, and then we'll be placing these on to see how that works out. So we're going to do that first. I'm going to work it out to here at 0.9 and then see what happens. So let's just stop recording here because you don't really need to. You get the gist of what I've done here. So this is 0.9, which is what the customer asked for, 900 millimeters. So obviously if you wanted more, you could put one in the centre there, etc. So here we go. 0.9 or 900 millimeters is the distance apart now from the actual panels, which will go like that. So I've marked this out on the wall because obviously I need to know where my MDF panels are going to finish. So what I've decided to do is I'll be putting a joint there, and I will make a piece because the panel should come out straight there. Now with this coming down like this, it just leaves that triangle section there. But what we'll do is we'll make a piece that goes in there with the panel, so that we only have this section here to fill. Now obviously if I was going to join the panel there, we'd have the whole lot to fill, and if this is uneven, so in other words, if I've got a panel, MDF panel there and one there, chances are they won't level up, and therefore it'll make it awkward to fill. And the idea is we're trying to hide all the joints behind one of these, the uprights. So my first panel will finish here, so I know where that's going to go now, and the second one will need to be measured now, and I'll have to measure diagonally now, I think. So we're ready to install the panels now, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a measurement from that end wall there, and hopefully we should get a good thing here. So to the point there, it's about 70 inch. I'm going to use inches because it was the nearest mark on my tape measure. So I've got about 70 inches. Now it doesn't matter if you get it a little bit wrong because you've got the wall at the other end to fill in if you need to. This is a digital square, angle finder, and as you can see it's already set, so we're just basically resting that on the top of the skating board, finding the angle. I've not even switched this on because I don't need to, so I know that that's the angle that the stair's going up, and what I'm going to do now is transfer that to the board. Now I've already cut the board, so what we'll do is we'll go in to the other room where I'm cutting and show you what I'm doing. So, a few little tools here, and again we've got the angle here of what we're doing there on the staircase. So we just need to take a measurement from the end of the board. So this side of the board will be going up against the wall. I'm going to mark out my 70" there and square the line up with my speed square. Now these, obviously if you was to put this on the edge of the board that way, you wouldn't be able to see exactly. So that's why I've drawn a line to see where it will go. But the best way of doing it is to just rest it on the edge of the board there and then line it up with your mark and simply draw a line. So that should be the angle you are looking for. Can use your speed square now, just open it up like that, and that is 40, it's just shy of 45 degrees, so it's about 45.5 degrees angle that. There you go. Once you've got your line, you can cut this out. I don't think it matters if you get a little bit of a gap because you can fill that in. I mean, this is resting on top of the skating boards. The customers asked for it to be that way, so that's what we're going to do. The customer is always right. So I'm going to extend that line. So all we're doing here is using the end of the board with cut and transferring and extending the line. And all it's a case of doing is cutting that out. Now I'm going to be using a circular saw, so it's going to get noisy now. Now, this piece here, save it, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that in a minute. But first we need to try this and see if it fits. So we're going to remove all the tools and get it on the other side. So you can see the angle of the staircase followed almost perfect, and all the way around meeting the skating board, and obviously at the top. Now I just need to cut a bit off the top there to bring it down to 1.2 metres. Once we get this first piece in, should be fine. Looking at that now, it's hit the centre line. So when we get this panel on, we get this on there, it will cover the gap, so there'll be no filling there. Now you might remember me saying save that piece for the top bit here, so that triangle reverse should fit there. Just need to trim it and it should be fine. It should just fit in there quite nicely. So our job's a good in. So what I've basically done here is measured 1.2 metres from the bottom here where the corner is, because that's where I want it to meet, 1.2 metres. There's a slight angle to follow there, so we're going to leave that in. I'm going to cut this section out, and what I've done here is I've levelled up with using the level the top end of the board. So all I've done is place the level upside down. So I've got the straighter edge of the level, leveled it up with the bubble, drawn a line. Now you might not, can you see the line on there? You've got roughly an inch here down to an inch and a half at this end. That just gives you an idea. So it's about an inch and a half here. So this is a level line from the top of the skateboard. So the skating board's not level for a start. So obviously we'll get this in level now, so the top end of this is level. This will have a trim on top, so I'm not too worried about the edge for now, as long as I get a nice straight cut. So I'll cut it up to here and then maybe use a handsaw to cut that bit out. So I have the panel ready to go on, and all that's left to do is stick some panel adhesive or instant nails on the wall. So why are you doing the wall? Well, you can do the panel if you want, but it's a big panel, so you need to get plenty on. Even sign your name, yes. Make sure you get, excuse me, make sure you get plenty of panel adhesive, or this is just solvent free grab adhesive. I find this is the best kind of stuff for doing skating boards and this kind of stuff. Once you think you've got enough on, then just offer it up to the wall. It should just stick. It's quite strong stuff, this. What you need to do is get it in place. Give it a good tap. Just needs lifting up. There we go. Make sure it's up against the wall. It keeps springing off in places, and so you've got to contend with how it's been stored, etc. But one thing you can do is purchase something like this. Now, I did a review on this Stanley Fat Max pin gun. It's a V20, which is a 20 volt battery. It's cordless, obviously, 16 gauge. So all you need to do is put some pins in. These will hold it in place. So you also give it a nice little tap if you need to. Looking at the line that I drew on earlier, that's reasonably level. So just going to fix it in. That's all it needs. One of the pins there hits something. And again. If you do find yourself like just here now, it's just sprung out a bit, then all we need to do is get a tap with it. That's as good as it's going to get. There we go. So that's got a nice good grip of that. So you might remember me cutting that triangle piece off there. Well, this is where we're going to use it. So for this next section we need to, one, work out where the panel will finish, so we can get these uprights in the right place. So we're just going to have to bring a panel to this one here and cut it, but we need to find the height of the panel and we need to get the right angle as well. Now, there's an easy way and a hard way of doing this. One way is to just bring the panel up and use a level and then cut it, and then also bring it down and cut it there and then cut the top edge off, which I think that's one way we'll do now. So I'll bring a panel up. You can see why you need two people to do this. So what I've done here is rest it there. I'm going to have to adjust that. So I put that panel there. Didn't think. And all we do take a level. Take a level line like that. That is where that will be. So we have a panel in now. I've continued the line, excuse the level, I've continued the line where the upright will be going here, and it has to be said it only just fits in. We've got to continue this line here as well, so we're going to place a mark there and a mark here. So we can get this angle here. So what we'll do now is I'll grab my level again and bring this line down. So, just nice to go off, slide it just in. We're not going to say something pop into those lines there, which you get this camera. So that mark measure goes, once you've got these marks here, these lines, it's probably the best way to do it, because you make sure that you've got this line here correct with that line there, and the measure, there is one way to do it, we'll show you in a minute, we'll get this camera. So, we've made it all the way to the top now. Bit of intricate joinery work there, and like I said, some of the gaps aren't right, not that bothered. It will help with expansion and things like that anyway. So all we need to do now is work out where the top rail goes. Now I've already pre-marked this, so I've placed this on level and use my level, make sure it's level, like there, it's level, and using the pencil leave a mark on the thing there. So once again we have a mark here, so we just basically offer this up to where it should have gone using the boards, because we do have the line, chalk line behind there. Where I cut this here, I can still see the chalk line there, so I know that this is still in line, and just going to level that through like that, and it's as simple as that. You do the same at the bottom, make sure it's level. This is just slightly off a little bit, so just level that up a bit. Draw the line resting it on the top this time. This will follow the top of the skating board. So what we have now is two reference points for the angles. So we just join the dots up like that. That will give us the correct angle to cut the MDF. So a quick way of doing it is just to line it up again and create the mark on the wood there, and again at the top and once you join the dots up you should have the angle that you need. So all you're basically doing is joining the lines up on the wood there and there and making that cut across. So another way of doing it is to use your angle finder. Now just bear with me while we get it. Just pause the camera for a minute because I do have a fancy little gadget for doing this, believe it or not. Watch this. So, a couple of little things we've got. We've got the angle finder again. Make sure it's level, just put it on something flat like that before you press the on off button. It's on, make sure you zero it, and it's saying 134.6. So you need to half that, which is what is that? I don't know. Give me a calculator. So the actual angle will be so you minus that off 90, minus 90, so be 22.7. So it's not quite what's it in. Now the other gadget I've got is this. This just tells you immediately what it is. So we can offer these up to the lines. I'm going to move in front of the camera here. And lining it up, it tells you right there, exactly on the lines. It does beveled cuts and mitre cuts, but it tells you there, so it's landed right on the 23-ish mark, so that again is 22.7. So I was right with that. Some of you may remember me reviewing this Heinel chop saw, and this is exactly the purpose of buying it. Now, I've measured the angle, 22.7 degrees, it's around 23. So what we need to do is move the saw around. Now this has got a very good gauge, but my advice is never to go by the numbers on. You do need to calibrate. Luckily enough it does have a laser on it, so it helps it a lot better in lining up. So we need to, so I'm using a scrap piece of wood here just to get it set before we actually cut wood, because we don't want to make any mistakes. So there we go. That should be 22.7. Put that to one side, cut the piece of wood and see what happens. Just to mention, been using this saw, it's a very good saw. Go check out the video that I did on it. You can buy them from Wicks here in the UK. Just come with laser, switches on off from there, and it also comes with a light as well, which is very handy. Just remember to switch them off when you've used it, because you are running on a battery. It's a good idea to get a couple of batteries if you're using one of these. So, right, that's the sales pitch over. Let's crack on with the rest of the work. So, there's his mark. We've drawn it on the thing, and there's his bit of wood. and as far as I can tell from that, it's pretty much spot on. Probably just needs a bit of adjustment on the saw. It is rising a little bit there, but this is why I use a piece of scrap wood. Okay, just needs a little bit more and then it should be fine. But again, that's why we use a piece of scrap wood, so that we know what we're doing. So, bit of fiddling around with this, because obviously you want to get them right. And if your saw moves ever so slightly, it does throw them completely out. So I had to cut them, but they're more or less right now. Possibly a little bit more adjustment on them, but they are quite tight against what we're doing here. So one thing you can do is jiggle your bits of wood around, but they're almost perfect then now. So what we'll do is get some wood cut to where we need it and get these panels run down now. So yeah, getting there. So what we do is get the full length piece, mark it up there, and mark that one, which we just need to cut that one really, and then job's a good one. Should be able to run it down then. So got the first one, and that's the second one that goes on. And for this, just using PVA glue and some nails obviously. And if you are using PVA glue, just remember not to get on the front of this. It's a bit cold today, so so again, we're down at the bottom here and we've got a similar sort of angle to find. So again, I've run the square in using, I think this is probably the best method to use, and using angle finders as well, because at least if you're using some scrap wood like these, you can offer them up to that line and get your angle perfect. If your saw is just ever so slightly out, it will change everything, and what you end up having is a gap. I have got a gap at the top there, which I will fill in eventually. So just going to get this fitted on and place a mark on it where we want to cut. Come in a little bit actually. Sometimes it's just a case of getting the right angle on it and then take that to the saw. So hopefully this will fit it the right way around. Once you have your saw set up, it's really easy to do this. I mean, it's child's play really. There we go. That's almost perfect. In fact, it's not almost perfect, it is perfect. So we can get that glued on now and pinned in place. So guys, we're ready for putting the uprights into the panelling now. This is the day after I put the panelling on. I did this to let the adhesive set behind it so it wasn't popping off with the force of the nail gun. So I had other things to do. As you know, self-employed people don't always stay on the same job all the time. So got some new lead in my pencil because that ran out as well, and the customer wants me to do these 990 centimetres or 0.9 of a metre. So this is a metre ruler. Very easily I've put a little mark already on my ruler there where the 0.9 is. Already fitted a upright at that side, which is more or less level, and what we do, basically level one up, and hopefully we get it in the right place. It should line up perfectly. So what we do is we place a mark there at the top, and making sure it's right on the edge of the top cross rail. The bottom one doesn't matter because I'm now resting at the bottom there. And what we do is take this to the saw. I will draw a line on it with my speed square, and hopefully it will fit nice and snug. So handheld saw there, as I featured earlier in the channel, done a review. So what we're doing is putting the speed square on the mark, which is there, and then what we do is just draw a straight line across like so. Now I've already got the laser on the saw, as I've already done a cut. Get rid of that, put that where somewhere safe. Now with the line, the laser on this saw is extremely accurate. Now they're not all the same, some of them are to the left or to the right. So we need the blade to hit this on the right hand side because that's the top edge. That way if we've got it spot on, it will fit in straight away. If it doesn't fit in because it's too tight, we can slither a little bit off then if we've still got the line. So we just... Now I've got a feeling this is going to be too tight because as you can see there, you can still see the line, but what we're going to do is try it and then we'll know exactly how much to take off. So here we are back at the panel. Now I know you said you wanted them 0.9 apart, but it's quite far apart is that. Now I can already tell that the line was spot on. Like I said, I had a feeling it wasn't going to fit because it's too high that now. So what we'll do is cut a bit more off and it should fit nice and snug in that gap in this. Don't try and spring these in because if you do that they might snap, and the other thing is you don't want them popping off at a later stage because that could cause that problem. So cut it, and I've literally taken a pencil line off, and there we go. It fits absolutely perfect, does that. There's a little bit of spring in it, And you remember me telling you about using panel adhesive. Now if you look at that now, it's a little bit off there, so the wall's not straight and there's nothing straight about this house, so what we're going to have to do is put some panel adhesive behind this one and stick it in, and hopefully it will be spot on then. See, that's where it needs to be, but if you push it in, it's gone in too far. Of course, the way this is being done, the walls aren't straight for one, and obviously these panels have just been stuck on like the customer asked me to do that. The only way we could have probably got this level is to dry line it all, take the skirting boards off and redo it all. Didn't want to mess about with the walls too much, it's an old house. But this should, like I say, with a little bit of adjustment there, we'll get that in position so that it looks right on the wall. So what I'm going to do is run some panel adhesive on this one, get a nice bed on it then. The edges will need filling in, but hey ho, it is what it is today. You kind of feel like with these older houses you're working against the grain a lot, which is exactly what you're doing really. It's the bottom of this fits perfect, the top not so perfect. So we got that in position there. Needs a little bit more on, I think. Need to give it a good level. Push it in a little bit. Make sure it's right. We could possibly just get a nail in at the bottom here, just to pull it in a bit. Like so. Basically what we're doing here is keeping it level. There we go. So once the adhesive sets behind that, that'll be nice and solid. We'll need to fill this Sorry, that was the postman just coming. We'll need to fill the edge in there as well. But that is a nice tight fit there. I have seen people make the gap wider by chamfering the edge off so they can get filler in. They think it's better, and it might be, but obviously I'm wanting a little bit of perfection here as well. So what we'll do is just run a bit of this down the sides as well. Get the next one in. So this is what we do now, is wipe off. I'm just holding it so I don't move it. Just wipe off the excess. You don't want to get the MDF too wet because it will fur up. So you just need to get as much off as you can. So we're on to the angle for this now. Now I've used this again, the angle finder, because it just gives me a rough idea of what it is that I need to cut, and according to that it's round about 45, it's in between 40 and 50, put it that way. So cut a scrap piece of wood, and if I come to this side you should see. There we go. It probably just needs maybe a slither the other way. We're talking margins. Yeah, it just literally just needs an adjustment according to the line. So what I've done there is I've drawn a level line up so that I can see the edge of this. However, it's not that far out, 45 as it is now. So what I'll do is I'll take a piece of wood there and I will cut it because it should be same at the bottom as well, which it is actually quite spot on. Is that first cut? Now I'm really happy about that. First cut, spot on, can't complain. Right, so what we need to do now is get this cut. So here we have the first cut. The first cut is the deepest, baby I know. What we do is line that up with that one and do the same thing we did for the straight cut for the upright, making sure we know which direction the angle is going in, and again speed square, line up that one. Now we know it's 45 degrees, so we can just use the 45 degree there, and I will get this cut. I'm going to go to this side of the line, make sure it's tight. So there we go, we've got the piece cut now, and the moment of truth. Making sure it's lined up. It's not bad at all. That is almost perfect. We're going to get it down to the line there. There's a bit of a bump in the wall there. There's a lot of bumps in this wall, I'll tell you that for free. There's a lot of bumps in this wall. I think I just need to cut another slither off that because it's just slightly out. So we'll do that again now. See where we're at. Right, there we go. That is now lined up perfectly. So we need to spring this one in a little bit. So I'm actually going to use glue for this one. Get the glue. This is just straightforward PVA glue, nothing special about it. You can buy it in any DIY hardware shop. So there we go guys, this is the panelling. Now we're by no means finished here, we've still got some trim to run up the top edge of it. There's that side of the wall to do and a few bits and pieces in the hallway, but this was the main section of it that we needed to get done these past couple of days. Now like I said earlier, they literally just come as planks like this, and generally speaking you would just put them on a wall. Now I would recommend the wall to be nice and smooth. Generally speaking, newer build houses are probably better for this type of thing, or houses that have been renovated and properly lined and plastered up, because obviously the surface will be a lot evener for doing things like this. In this case, this is a Victorian house. I could show you all the walls in this house. They've got bulges, they've got dents, they've got things that have been on over the years. There will have been a handrail going up there at one point probably, and of course all the little bits and pieces in the wall. Old-fashioned houses where the handrails used to be, they used to fix them to the wall with wooden plugs and plaster around the actual block of wood as well sometimes. So when they come off the wall, it pulls all the plaster off, so then you get the DIYer coming in, I can plaster, and they basically make a mess of it. This what we've done is the 6mm MDF, the sticker's still on it here, so you can pick this up relatively cheap these days, 6mm, probably get that off in a bit, and this, it looks more like 9mm, so yeah, the customer did ask me to do these at 0.9 metre or 900mm apart. However, if he did want a few more putting in like that, I'm sure you would agree that would probably look a little bit more effective on the way up. But we have some left here. I think I've got 2 packs left ready to do this side. So I'll have to work out again how much I need of this panelling, because I think I've run out of that now, and we can crack on with that then. Should be finished. The customer's going to paint this up himself, so good luck with that one, hopefully. Top tip, if you've got a sprayer, use a sprayer for painting it up. Another top tip is if you use just like some filler on the edges of the MDF here, and you can just run it on you with your finger. If your filler's a little bit hard, just soften it with some water, run it into the edge there, and then let it dry and let it just sand it gently, then paint it. Your edges will be a lot smoother than they will resemble this basically. This is a nice polished smooth edge, whereas this, when you just paint it with water-based paints especially, it just tends to flare up, so you end up having to sand it, paint it, sand it, paint it, sand it, paint it, sand it. You get the idea, don't you? So it's a good idea to get it all prepped up with some decent paint, like I say, the filler as well, and it will look a lot better than it would do if you just painted it. But once again, I would recommend using a sprayer. You can pick them up fairly cheaply these days, Screwfix. I may leave a link down below in the description for you. And probably need a couple of coats. Get it primed first before you do anything. It's the same principle as painting new plaster. You've got to thin it down quite a bit, especially in sprayers, to get it on, and then get your main colour on once you've got it all prepped and primed. That's probably my advice with MDF, and you'll find you'll get a better, nice result. Always try and sand any imperfections out. Like I said, MDF, although that's polished, it sometimes does flare up, so you do need to keep an eye on that and sand it. Obviously watch for runs, but you'll avoid that with a sprayer if you're any good at spraying. Practice with your sprayer before you use it, and get a good feel of it. So there you go, there's my top tips for painting it. Like I said, we're more or less finished with this now, but that gives you a general idea of how to fit this panel. And that's my battery falling on the floor. But that gives you a general idea. We'll do another video of that side of the room, and I'll show you how to work out if you want all the panels to work out exactly rather than this 0.9, but we will be doing 0.9 at that side, which means this side will match that side as far as the panels, and that's always a good idea as well. If you can get your panels to match up either side, it won't give you an imbalance when you walk in, because this is the first place that people walk in, is this front door. So we've got the reception area here, and these are the panels that you will see first before you go upstairs. So generally speaking, people will only see these, and like I said, you could always add one in the middle as well if you wanted a few more. But there you go. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate everybody who's doing it. I will leave links down below of all the tools I've used, and also keep an eye out at the top sometimes of my other videos where it shows you me reviewing some of the tools I've used, which is the chop saw, the nail gun, and I think maybe laser level as well. Have a look at that if you want to use a laser level. And like I said, thanks for subscribing, thanks for liking the videos, and I'll catch you in another video soon. Thanks for watching.